Hi, friends. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone could hear me. Can I get a quick sound check when someone has a moment? That would be fantastic. All right. I'm looking at the comments right now. Hopefully, everyone could hear me and see me. You never know with the internet these days. But looking forward to this, as I always do, every 2 weeks or so. We're on this live stream. And I have another very interesting topic and announcement to make this week. So, look forward to this one. Sound is good. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. We're going to give people a few minutes because they're trickling in. And usually I'll give them about 5 minutes or so. But anyway, we made it through the August 19th full moon. There were a few incidences, as you know, if you've been following me on social media. And, I posted more of that in the community as well. Thank you, Yaniv. Thank you, Beck's Bureau. And so we are basically still not out of the woods yet, according to the astrology and according to what I'm picking up on. And so we are in this weird, funky time. And this is what I saw. And we will continue to go through these patterns. Now we're going to be entering September, and I'll talk about that on the next live stream. Basically, September is eclipse season again, because we have a lunar eclipse coming in. And then October, we have a solar eclipse coming in. And then we have some, tricky alignments coming up to November. I'm not going to go over all of that, but as we go into it, I will cover all of that. But today's topic is about coming to realizations. And I purposely chose that title because we are starting to realize a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, many people right now are looking for some sort of hope. They're looking for some sort of, something to give them meaning in life, something to make them feel like they're not losing their marbles. And so when I say come into this realization, I will get into all of that. I will talk about what it is. And yes, Nick, I will be on Archaics on September the 2nd. That's right. That's one of my major announcements that I want to share with everyone. For those of you that are listening and following, Jason and his team has reached out to me, and I will be on with Jason on September the 2nd on his channel, Archaics 138. He's reached out, and we're going to have an interesting conversation. And so I'm looking forward to it. I knew that this was going to happen the moment I started listening to Jason and his work, and I've read several of his books, and I've watched I don't know how many videos of him in the last year and a half. He really is articulate and very smart man. And I think we'll have a very interesting conversation. So join us on, I believe it's Monday, right on the new moon. How about that? New moon in Virgo. And I'll have a video coming out on the new moon outlook for that as well. And we're going to be talking about the nature of reality and whatever else that comes up. So it should be interesting. And I know many of you know who he is. I have high regard for his work. It is definitely worth listening to, and it's not for the faint-hearted because he goes really deep. And some of the information that he provides, especially with the Phoenix and the other thing that he talks about, it's not for the lighthearted. Let's put it that way. So anyway, that was one of the major announcements. I was just looking at the comments there. So. But this is a very important time because we are starting to realize how everything functions in this world and this reality. And like I said, I will get into it much deeper, just waiting for a few people to come on in. And, if you haven't already done so, there are links down below this video for the free mini moon reading and numerology reading. And if you feel inclined, check out the free community and the inner circle community. And I'll be on that inner circle call right after this presentation with my members. And so, those are always very informative. And of course, I could speak much more freely on there than I am on here. So I have to watch what I say here. And when I put the videos together, I have to watch what I say there. And so, in the free community, there's just a basic, but there's a lot of information. But in the inner circle, is where I really dive much deeper. I post a lot more on there and provide a lot more information. And usually the people in there get my newsletter first. They get the monthly astrologies first, any articles, anything that I come into, and they get the weekly astrology. So it gives them a real big heads up in the inner circle. So all the links are down below. If you're interested, please check it out. I appreciate all of you, participating and joining and wanting to support me and my work. And so, all right, let's get started. We're at the 5-minute mark. We've got about 357 people or so, and I'm sure that number will be climbing. So let's get into what I'm talking about when I say coming to realizations. Now, we just came out of this really severe, heavy energy with the full moon. The full moon brings in realizations. That's the first thing it does. It brings in this awareness. It has this doorway ability to look at the past, to just realize that things are what they are. Okay. And since we're talking about Aquarius, and it was a very strong Aquarius full moon because it was also aligned to Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. And so we are coming to realizations as a human race on this planet that something is much bigger than we could imagine, that there's a control mechanism, that there's a simulation or a matrix that is running the entire show. And it absolutely has to do with some sort of manipulation of frequency or energy or, programming of some kind. And especially now that we have the sun going through Virgo in the Western astrology, we have the sun going through Virgo. And we'll have Mercury going through Virgo as well as soon as it comes out of its retrograde on the 28th. It'll be this week. And it'll re-enter Virgo. So Virgo is a very analytical sign. And so Virgo energy, wherever that is in your birth chart, comes to things very quickly. And it comes to realizations. It's a very practical sign that says this is how it is. It's a very skeptical sign, but it's also a very practical sign. And so with the sun going through Virgo, we are starting to realize what reality really is and the political theater that we're watching. Okay. Now, I've been saying this for a long time now, that we're undergoing a massive change in consciousness, awareness, belief systems, monetary systems, political systems. And if you look closely, you will see them. I mean, it's so obvious. We astrologers since 2008 were screaming from the rooftops. Okay, the financial system is going to change. Okay, the power structures are going to change. Okay, everything's going to begin to be exposed. And what are we seeing right now? We're seeing all of that exposing taking place. You see? So this is what I mean by realizations, but some of this stuff is pretty dark and weird and macabre and we don't want to face it, because then we have to change our belief systems. Then we have to look at things from a different perspective. And this goes for everything, not just the political theater, not just for the financial system, the corrupt corporations, but also the religious institutions. And I'm talking about the 3 major religions. And I've mentioned that before. Religion is a control mechanism, whether you realize it or not. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anyone who's religious. Okay? But they are. And they're the most powerful controlling systems on the planet. The Vatican, the Jewish faith, and the Muslim faith. They all have their followers that just go along and, just feel a connection to these organizations, and they do as they're told. And they give away their power. They give away their energy to these places because they're looking for some sort of connection with another human, or they're looking for a connection in ideology, whatever it is. But this is part of the realization. This is part of the awakening process that's taking place. And the Uranus energy that we're experiencing and will continue to experience, especially when Uranus enters Gemini next year in 2025, I believe it's in either May or July, we're going to have much more of an awakening, because Uranus in Gemini wants things to be different, wants to be things out of the ordinary. Right now we have Uranus in Taurus, which is about our belief systems and our traditions, which are being transformed right before our eyes. But when Uranus goes into Gemini, it's just like anything goes. It's going to be like a free-for-all. of communication, ideas, and it may cause a lot more conflict. So we're coming to these realizations. Now, I want to get back to the political theater because we're entering that time zone right now. And I've said, and I've made this prediction a while back at the beginning of this year, and I believe last year in some of the videos, I said we are not going to have an election. It's going to be delayed, or some event is going to take place, and it's going to, disrupt things. And I still see that. I still see some sort of change. It may look like a natural disaster. It may be a power outage. It may be something along those lines that's coming in, because I've analyzed this political theater that we have going on right now. Okay. So first of all, I've said this before on other videos, that when you look at the Democratic ticket, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and now the other guy from Minnesota there, Tim, Tampon Tim, as they call him, because he put tampons in the boys' bathrooms, he required tampons in the boys' bathrooms. That's why they call him Tampon Tim. But my point being is when you look at this side, and I'm not picking sides. Everyone thinks I'm a big Republican. No, I'm not. I couldn't care about labels. Okay. And so basically I'm looking for the truth. I want to see people that start speaking the truth. And I've said this before, the only reason I support Trump is not because of his policies. It's because he is revealing the truth to people, to humanity in his own warped way. Okay. And I've said, I don't listen to Trump. It's like nails on the chalkboard. I can't take it. So, but that's the only reason I would support him. But as soon as the moment he turns or goes back with his buddies and, the corporations or whatever else, or, religious organizations he's affiliated with, I'm going to be criticizing him up and down. Okay. So he was put there for one reason: to disrupt the system. He was there as a diversion. He is there to give people hope. And he is doing that for most of the country and the world right now, to show what's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you that what I see coming, he's not going to be able to be a part of it. And I still hold that I still see this, that in September, where as we come into September, that we are going to see him be sentenced, and we probably will see him in an orange jumpsuit because they want that visualization. It also takes him out of the equation. And what I mean by that is that whatever's going to take place politically, socially, the events that are going to take place, want to keep him out of the way. In other words, they don't want things to be pointed at him. So with the political theater, we're seeing some sort of military operation, as I've been saying all along. And we go back to those candidates on the left side, the Democrats. They don't seem to have anything that, people could grasp onto or help understand. Or, whoever chose these people chose them on purpose, because they are just devoid of any sort of ability to speak, put together coherent sentences. When you look at Kamala, that's another one. It's like nails on the chalkboard. I can't stand listening to her. It's just like I don't want to say dumb, but she's just like not in the right position. This is not a leader. This is not leadership, especially when you look at her background. And I'm not trying to, again, take sides or anything. I'm just trying to show you that it's so obvious to me and so many others that we're watching some sort of, show, some sort of orchestrated reality right now in order to wake people up. And that's what's actually happening. This is the Great Awakening, as I say in almost all my videos now. This is the Great Awakening. And we are seeing how we give our power away to these belief systems. Oh, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a this. I'm a that. You limit yourself. When the moment you start saying, I am this, okay, and you're attaching yourself to a political ideology, or you're attaching yourself to a religious belief, or whatever you think you are, okay, you immediately box yourself in. Everything starts to get boxed in your mind. And so you have to understand that you are so much more than you could ever imagine. These physical suits are holding the spirit or the energy intact. The forces of nature and whatever they are, gravity and some of the other forces are keeping the molecules compressed in this physical suit, but that's not who you are. And you have the ability to make your own decisions. This is the greatest gift that the source has given us. Now I call it source. You call it God, Yahweh, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. I call it source. Okay. The source has given us its power, its free will to make a choice and then have that experience. So for me, it's been easy because my whole life I've been studying human nature, spirituality, and then I got into all the metaphysical stuff and started to understand it and so on. But my point being is, we are coming to this realization for those of us that can see, those of us that are not going to clutter our minds with all kinds of BS. And I see that in the forums. I see that everywhere, how people are just absorbing all this information. Well, Trump did this and Kamala did this and this is going to happen here and this one's going to happen here. We're all looking at things and we're hungry for knowledge. We're thirsty for some sort of understanding of what's happening. And we think, many people have the answers. Even we professional astrologers and psychics could only guide. We could only show you the possibilities. Okay, it's up to humanity as a collective to go in that direction or not go in that direction. And then all of a sudden we change the outcome, you see? And so we have the power, and especially now with the increase in frequency and energy that all of us have been feeling. I know I've been feeling the energy. And so the idea is to basically align yourself within yourself, realize who you are, realize what you're doing here. The moment you start believing in a video or somebody's articulate explanation of something, right away, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's good. I like that. Oh, I'm going to believe that. And right away, you are giving your power away. Okay. So I'm not saying not to believe in anything. I'm saying that to trust your own intuition, to trust your own sort of compass, your heart, your energy. Is it guiding you in the right direction? Is it not guiding you in the right direction? Don't overwhelm yourself, especially the mind, because what's coming, energetically and even astrologically, we're going to be overwhelmed. The mind is going to take over for many, with the outer planets in air signs, Pluto in Aquarius, again, back in 2025. And then we have Uranus in Gemini. And of course, the other two planets that are going to be in Aries. So this is fire and air, moving forward with passion and desire, wanting to be challenged, and then air, all kinds of ideas and qualities and thoughts. And that's going to be running rampant in 2025. And so we're going to see all of that. But right now, at the beginning stages of the crumbling, the disassembling that's taking place. And we're seeing it, but it's a slow, painful process. And I've said this before. It's a slow, painful process because that's what I saw. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing astrologically. I can be very strategic in understanding things at a deeper level. Okay. So this is what I'm seeing right now is we are going into a month, September, October, November, these next few months, where it gets a little bumpy. It gets a little tricky. And this could be anything. I mean, we saw how many surprises have we seen just, around the full moon, give or take a week on either side. RFK making an announcement. And by the way, I knew that RFK came into the race and was going to be somehow a part of the Trump team because they've been friends for many years. Trump has been good friends with the Kennedy family for many years. So as soon as he entered the race, I immediately just, the common sense hit me. He said, he's going to be a part of the Trump, organization in some capacity. And so is Elon Musk. These guys are all working together behind the scenes with the military intelligence. That's what's going on, friends. Okay? And they're trying to dismantle what? The DNC party? Yeah, part of that, yes. But it's much bigger than that. It's about the control mechanism, the financial control mechanism of the world. Now, I'm going to be doing another interview with my friend Michelle Fielding coming up soon. And if you don't know who she is, she channels information from some of the beings that she's in touch with. And she's been very accurate. I got to be honest, the last couple of years when she's made predictions about how things are going to turn out, she's been very accurate. And so she put out a video on Rumble basically saying that there's going to be a new digital currency. And it's going to be based on the countries will have the money based on how they contribute to humanity. Are they helping humanity or are they being self-serving? So we've been talking about this for a long time, that we're going to see some form of digital currency, probably backed by gold or something else. But it cannot be implemented too quickly. That's the problem we have right now, because too many people are so reliant on their payments from the government, or are using their credit cards and paying for things in certain ways. It's going to have to come slowly. So as much as I want to say, yeah, everything's going to be great, yeah, 2025, fantastic, no, it's going to be, the realization here is it's going to be a little bumpy. It's going to be a little confusing. It's going to be a little bit of uncomfortableness. Okay. And this is all coming up right now, starting now from this presentation, this day on, all the way till about May or June of next year. And I've already put out a video called Future of 2025, where I outlined some of the astrology. And that begins in November, when Mars in Cancer opposes the United States Pluto in Capricorn, and transiting Pluto will also be in Capricorn. So we've got opposites here. Mars and Pluto, one is power and destruction and death and rebirth. The other one is conflict, irritation, challenges. So these two will be opposing each other right around November. So this is why we astrologers are saying, hey, there's going to be some issues around the election, or may not be an election, or maybe there's military intervention. All of that stuff is on the table. So what I'm saying is, be realistic. Be very realistic about your expectations. Be very realistic about what's really happening. For you folks that are supporting Trump, great. He's not the Messiah. He's not here to save you. He's here to give you some hope and guide you into understanding what's actually happening. That's the only way I see it. He says a lot of things and, typical political nonsense. But unfortunately, that he has to play this game. He has to play this game. There were one or two speeches that he's given over the years, especially when he first got in, that he literally said what was really going on. That there's an international cartel that's basically running the show, basically feeding off the country. He was absolutely correct about that. But my point being is don't look to people on the internet as your savior. Okay? That's what I'm trying to get across here. If you want real information, tune into it yourself, not from the internet, not from your cell phone, or somebody said this and someone said that. No, you tune into it yourself. Okay? This is why like I said, I'm in my RV and I'm out in nature every day, and I spend quite a few hours not attached to any technology. Leave the phones home, go to the nearby park, or go for a hike or something. No technology, because I don't want that disruption. I want to be able to tune into things. If something appears or something has to be shown to me, it will show up. And because I'm open to it, I understand it, and it will reflect itself. It will come in. And so that's what I'm talking about. Coming to the realization that you are some form of an antenna, and the information is all there if you know how to tune into it. And so what you do is you quiet the mind as much as possible, and you don't anticipate or think about the past, or, oh my God, I hope this man is going to save me, and I hope the political this is going to work this way, and I pray for this man, and I pray for that one, and so on and so forth. No, you don't do that. Okay? You want to send them well wishes? Great. Send them loving energy, light. Everything will work out. I know it'll all work out. It always does. One way or another, it'll work out. But my point being is that we have to start realizing who we are and how we give our power away. Like I said, to political nonsense, to religious nonsense, to corporations, to fears, to the unknown. Because when you do that, you're opening up a a timeline or an energy that is blocking you, that's going to continue to block you. And especially when major events take place. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, don't do that. That's, I hate to say it sounds so cold, but you have to detach yourself from certain things. Otherwise, you're going to be affected by it. That's part of the programming process, you see? So I don't want people to get all, confused and irritated and upset about what's going on. Keep your emotions out of it. It's the best thing you could do. Fear, emotions, anxiety, it's all a waste of energy. Okay. And I know it's not easy for some because they're very passionate and, very caring. I get that. Put your energy towards something else. So when I talk about coming to realizations, I'm talking about all of this. I'm talking about the realizations that Trump is not going to save you or your family. Okay, he's here to serve a role. If he makes some changes, necessary changes as soon as he comes in. And I want to get back to the political theater in a second. If he makes a few changes, yes, it will affect us. And the first thing, let's just say, okay, let's say Trump gets in. All right, they delay the election and he gets in. What do you think is going to happen? All right, he gets in. He starts some executive orders, probably releasing the gas and the fuel coming from Canada and the Alaskan pipelines and all that stuff. Yes, that could help a little bit. But do you think the opposition is going to lay down and just say, "Oh yeah, that's great. Go ahead, right ahead"? No, they're going to cause as much chaos as possible. Don't forget, here in the United States, we have about 30 million of these people that came across our southern border. 30 million, they estimate, and that's not my estimation. That is the people on the border that work there. It said you would not believe how many people are getting, and these are the ones we are counting. 30 million in the last 3.5 years or so. 30 million. Do you think, and most of them are, military age, about 85% of them are young males. Do you think there's going to be a few of these people in there that are going to cause some problems for the United States? Or look at what's happening in Europe. Look at what's happening in the Scandinavian countries, in Sweden. Do you think that's going to start happening here? Most likely. Okay. And they're going to go to the major cities. So my point being is even if Mr. T gets in, he's going to start making a few moves. Okay. But the other side is going to be very much involved in destroying what he has to do. Not to mention, he's going to have people on the inside sabotaging him, just like he did in the first administration. People stabbing him right in the back, throwing him under the bus. And we all know about the mainstream media. They will fight him tooth and nail. So he's got an uphill battle, okay? And that's okay. He was brought in for this because what they're doing is, while this is all happening here, Elon and the military intelligence is basically rebuilding something. They're building something, and it has to do with the space satellites. It has to do with the new financial system. It has to do with things that are not on the table right now. And I could clearly see it. And so they're buying time, and they're continuing to buy time. And this is a process that's going to have, it's going to be a few years in the making. This is not snap the finger. All right, yeah, everything's great. Let's turn it all on. Let's all go to the new system. No, it's going to be a little painful. That's part of the realization. So prepare yourself. My message here is, number one, always remember who you are. You're not this physical suit. You're not your identity. You're not your title. You're not your gender, all of this stuff. You're a spiritual energy in this physical suit having the experience. And what you believe in, you begin to manifest. Okay? So that's number one, most important. Number two is understand that we're going through a massive transformation right now. Realize it in your bones. Everyone on this planet is going through a transformation. I don't care who you are. You're feeling this energy. You're starting to see things for what they are. Okay? So this is very important right now. And not to feed the system with fear. Remember, this is how they've controlled humanity up to this point. Fear, 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 anger, fear, fear, anger, fear. Pit people against each other. Oh, you're this, you're that. This is what they've been doing. This is part of their strategy. Okay? This is how they control the masses. And unfortunately, the masses don't get it. The average person is very simplistic and they don't see this. They just see, oh, I hate Trump. Oh, Kamala's this. I see, they just quickly react. And all of a sudden, the matrix is feeding off of that. And they have them. They control them. Boom, got them. But you folks listening to me and listening to Jason and Michelle and other people that are awake and trying to inform others, you get it. Okay, so this is the most important thing to realize right now, that we're going through a transformation. It's going to get a little bumpy. Okay, so prepare. As I've said, prepare the best way you can. Food storage for a couple of months, changes that are going to occur, maybe power outages in certain places. And we've already seen this stuff. So it's not like not possible, but it's not doom and gloom end of the world. It's a transformation. Okay. And so we're going to continue to see this, and especially going into the political theater. And this month, September, of course, the big news we have to pay attention to is right around the lunar eclipse, that Mr. T gets sentenced. I believe it's on the 18th, right? The day right after the lunar eclipse. And we'll see what happens there. That might cause a little anger with a lot of people on the right. So we may see some conflict there erupting. And so we may see that coming into being as well. So we have to, those of us, the digital warriors, as they say sometimes, the digital warriors have to stay above the fray. We have to keep the mind clear and the hearts clear. And so, we have to participate in this great awakening and help those that don't get it. Because the more we awaken others, the better it is for all of us, you see. And the ones you can't get to, don't bother. It's a waste of energy. They're just so set in their ways, And so you have to just help those that you could see, the children, the young, that are open to change. They're open to understanding something differently. This is why, the colleges and the schools target the young, because they haven't experienced anything yet. They tell them there's 56 genders. And unfortunately, they don't understand higher consciousness or not aware, and they start believing the nonsense, you see, and that's what's happening right now. And so we are in this time of great awakening, great transformation, and coming to some sort of, realization about the world and how it really operates and how it really works and who we really are. That's what's happening to us. Okay. So with that said, I want to take a few questions, on here. And before I move on to the Zoom call, so we'll spend the next 12, 15 minutes or so taking questions from here or my community. I know they're listening as well. And then we'll sign off around 45 minutes. And so that way, give everybody a chance to interact and participate in here. Because, my job is to help guide. My job is to help remind everyone of who they are and where they've been and so on. So I'm just going to take a couple of questions here. For those of you folks that are into the digital currency, there's been a lot of news about XRP and some of these other ones, and of course, Bitcoin. Look, there's going to be a digital currency. Absolutely. And they may use XRP because some of the big banks have been leaning towards that. Again, that's not going to be your savior, because what I'm getting at is, I've always said this, that we're going to have multiple ways of paying. We may use gold and silver, okay? Gold, silver coins to pay for stuff. And there's, 15, 20 states that are already allow you to use that to pay for goods and services. So XRP may just be one of them. There'll be several of them, but many of them will go by the wayside. Okay, so I got to tell you, many of them are going to go by the wayside. So don't anticipate that being the savior for everything. Okay, and again, if you're looking for wealth and cryptos and all that stuff, part of that is going to come to an end as well in terms of change. With the financial systems changing, yes, it may make a few people some money, but the whole system's going to change dramatically. And so over time, we may see some major changes to the financial system of how we do things. And if this CBDC gets implemented and it's run by, I don't know who yet, that's the big question. We need to find out who's going to be running the show. That may change wealth in the United States over the course of many years. So that is a possibility. Anyway, I've got a question here from 24 Baby Bull Heard that Manhattan DA Bragg is no longer recommending jail for Trump. Maybe he was given the word to wise up, talk about the powers who shouldn't be are doing behind the scenes. Okay, so the question basically is about Bragg not recommending jail. And again, we'll see what happens. Remember, I said I saw something about Trump in a jumpsuit, and maybe the military intelligence is doing this on purpose. Even if he spends a day or two in jail, they want the photo op. They want people to, you know, see what's really going on. Remember, he's exposing the corruption at the deepest level. And where are the deepest levels of corruption in most countries? It's in the legal system, it's in the financial system, the banks and so on. Okay, and it's in the politics. Those three areas. Oh, let's not forget the religious institutions. So there's four places that they control society. So you want to know who the powers that shouldn't be are? They're embedded in those four organizations, and they all lead back to other countries. You know, Rome and the Vatican, the Middle East, London. When I say Middle East, I mean Israel and the Zionists. And so these are the places that are controlling humanity. And behind them are these families that nobody's even heard of. And I've gone over these families in my private community, you know, where I talked about all of these organizations that are running the show behind the scenes, unknown, nobody knows about them. And they're the ones telling everyone else what to do. Okay, so that's how it works. And so they control the big companies, the drug companies, they control the banks, they control all of it. So be careful of, you know, information, especially now with the AI being used, and you know, it's monitoring everything, and it's basically, you know, it's taking a pulse of what information is being put out there, so it can manipulate it even more. All right, so you got to really dig deep. You know, it's hard to do right now. I understand. You got to go to places like Rumble, or, you know, listen to people that are on the, you know, they're tinfoil wearing hats, and, you know, and are thinking outside the box, because that's where the real information is. And you get bits and pieces of information, and you'll have to tune into it yourself. All right, so I've got another question. Your thoughts on Biden endorsing Kamala? Weird energy at the DNC convention. Seems just weird. What are your thoughts on the energy? The energy is absolutely weird. There's no doubt about it. Okay, this is very strange energy. It's very heavy energy. It will continue. We still got Mercury in retrograde. And so that's confusing. It's irritating. The energy can be a little heavy. This week, we've got some heavy alignments coming in with Mars and Gemini. And so you know, Biden is, as I've said, he is this poor soul, whoever it is or what it is, you know, is doing what he's told. If he doesn't, they just replace him. They'll just give him an injection, or, you know, do something to him or threaten him in some way and say, you better do this. And that's what they're doing. It's all a show. Does anyone in their right mind believe that Biden or Harris is able to lead anything? Let's be realistic here. Okay? Let's just be realistic here. And this is not, you know, a partisan, you know, thought or process. Realistically, do you think these people are able to lead or, you know, anything? No. They're actors. They're performers. That's what they're doing. They're following orders. That's what's happening. So whatever we're watching right now, they're reading off of teleprompters, and they are absolutely being told what to do. So Biden endorsing Kamala is no big surprise, you know. But again, you got to think in terms of strategy. Okay, what's the strategy here? Think military operations. Think outside the box. Think about the bigger picture. Don't just look at the candidates. They're just performers. Look at the bigger picture. What's the agenda? What's the bigger agenda? Who's running the show? Who's pulling the strings? Okay. And so that's what appears to be going on. All right. So let's go to the next question. Thoughts on powerful people having C-sections when having children to ensure that they're born on a specific day? This is more of an astrological question. Well, they understand astrology. They understand the timing, you know. So when a family decides to have a child and have a C-section, they are choosing a proper time for that child to come in, and that will affect them. Absolutely. Okay. It's like anything else. You know, over the years, I've had many clients who have come to me wanting to know about elective surgery, or when's the best time to do this, when's the best time to do that. And that's where astrology shines, because we have the ability to see, you know, what better time would be beneficial to someone and the client. So this, you know, powerful having C-sections, they know astrology, they know symbolism, they know how the matrix works, and they've used it for thousands of years. This is nothing new, you know, and they have a different timeline. They don't just use regular astrology. They use sort of a universal energy based on different constellations. They're highly intelligent. They know what's going on. So they do it to benefit that new child or that new energy coming in. All right. So thanks for the question. All right. Butter Gin, how does all play out with Pluto and Aquarius? Pluto and Aquarius is about humanity rebelling. It's about humanity waking up. So Pluto in Aquarius, when it goes back in on November the 19th of this year, all the way through about I think it's 2043. Don't quote me on that one. But Pluto in Aquarius is going to wake up humanity. It's going to give humanity a big boot in the behind. And both of these planets, Pluto and Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, are both about transforming. One does it through death and rebirth, destroying and rebuilding like nature does. What does nature do? It goes in, it destroys, and then later on rebuilds it, right? That's the power of Pluto symbolically. Uranus, on the other hand, is like lightning. It strikes and destroys, and it shocks. That's your Uranus Aquarius energy. So Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring innovations, revelations. It's going to bring surprises. It's going to bring in nature. There's going to be a lot of change. And I've said this before because this is what I saw years ago. Lots of change in nature, volcano eruptions, earthquakes, landmass movements. A lot of it's going to be natural, but I can't discount the fact that some of it's not going to be natural. If you've been watching that young kid Into Thin Air, he's been showing you the satellite pictures of stuff coming out of Antarctica. And there seems to be some sort of radio frequency pulsing that's coming out of there. And we know they got the technology to do all of that. So there could be some of that also going on. And that's part of the deep state. And that could be part of why there may not be an election or causing mayhem and chaos in certain areas. Okay, so we have to pay attention to that too. But it will cause a lot of change and destruction. All right, another question here. Do you filter your water, Joe, or do you drink bottled water or tap? Do the elite drink normal water? Thoughts? Well, first of all, the elite know what to eat. They are eating organic food as much as possible because they know what's in the water. They know what's in the food and so on. I personally filter my water. I have reverse osmosis, and I do put minerals in my water. Okay, because once you do reverse osmosis, you're removing everything, including the minerals. So I do take supplements, lots of supplements, especially minerals. The body needs minerals. That's the biggest thing that the body needs. Zinc, iron, and all the others. It needs that. Okay, this because we're an electrical system, and those are the minerals that help with the electricity in the body. Okay, so thank you for that. Another question: how do you think the pyramids were made in a short form? Do you think humans spiritually were on a higher consciousness or aliens? If you do think alien technology is a vibration. All right, the pyramids were absolutely created using some form of technology. Now, Jason Brashears talks about this a lot in his book as well, that he believes that there were humans, probably not from here. He speculated on they were probably not from here, the Anu, or later called the Anunnaki, and the Sumerians talk about this, that those pyramids were actually, and they're geometrically perfect. I mean, the alignments and everything are perfect. And so what they've done is it seems that those pyramids seem to be some sort of like giant antenna, or they seem to be some form of, structure where it absorbs energy and it gives out energy. Also, they were used to balance the earth because that makes a lot of sense to me. If you realize that there are many pyramids around the world along certain ley lines in certain places, it's almost like, how you have the weights on your tire on a car, and as you go faster, that weight balances everything. It's the same concept or the same idea. That makes a lot of sense to me. So there's that as well. But these pyramids were used, the way they were built was with high level technology. Now, were they aliens? Now, this is a very good question because I do believe we have other beings in our other dimensions and other galaxies. I mean, it would be foolish for me to say, no, there are no such thing as aliens. But we have to think about something. We are all aliens. Our soul does not belong in this galaxy. It's just here, temporarily having this human experience. So technically, we're all aliens. Now, if you want to say aliens, the Greys, the reptilians, and some of these others, yes, there's all forms of beings that are out there. All right. Just look at the diversity of animals and insects on this planet and bacteria. So to say that we don't have other forms of life that are either more evolved or less evolved than we are is foolish. But do I think they're aliens? I don't want to call them aliens. I want to say they're extraterrestrials, and they have high levels of technology, or they're in a different vibrational field, and they do exist. I think they do exist. The evidence is overwhelming that they do exist. But many of them are, believe it or not, human like us. They just have this technology to be able to do things that seem like miracles and, spectacular events. So it's really technology. They're so advanced and they're able to time travel back and forth. That's what it seems to be. Okay. Thank you for the question. All right. So next question, do you think the ice wall is real? And if you do believe in it, and who do you think has access to it? I don't know. Think if it exists. Superpowers like Russia, US already have the ice wall. Now, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Are you talking about the ice wall in like Antarctica and Greenland and all of that? So if so, how did they not argue to expose the truth if they are at war? Do you know the story? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Whoever asked me that question about the ice wall. All right. So it's hard for me to comment on that. I know the earth is changing. I know that, the waters are going to rise in many of the oceans because this is a natural occurrence that occurs every so many, thousands of years. And the earth is continuing to go through its changes. And this is physically happening. So it's not just speculation. It's actually happening. So I'm not sure about the question. All right. I've got Esther Swift. Sabrina Wallace goes over lots of tech white papers, lots of surveillance. Yes, of course. The matrix and, the powers that shouldn't be are constantly surveilling and constantly, paying attention to what's going on. Like I said, the AI is listening to everything and it's making judgments. It's, it's figuring things out. And so, this is what's happening. And so anyway, hold on one second here. One of my moderators. And so, yes, I mean, there's a lot of that going on. Okay. What else? Last question here. Veneru, all cities in North America had strange fires, including Toronto's, where I am. There was a Crystal Palace here too. Yes, we got to pay attention to the fires as well, because many of them are being artificially created. Okay. So this is not natural. Yes, lightning strikes. Yes, there's nature destroying areas. But when you have so many, all at once, something is not right. Something is, and my intuition is tuned into this. And I got something like half or 60% of those fires are being artificially created. Again, cause disruption, cause, fear, destroy people in some way. It's all about energy. It's about vibration. And they're trying to destroy as much as possible. And so that's part of the equation. Remember, these beings or this simulation is an evil. And I don't see evil in the sense that, Christians, good and evil, in a sense that it doesn't have humanity's best interest. Okay. It needs to control humanity. So it's going to use any means possible to do that. And so that's what I'm talking about. So as we continue to awaken, its power gets weakened and it's going to have tougher time, keeping up with controlling humanity. That's why it's so important to stay awake and keep your vibration high. Okay. Don't feed into the fears. Don't get anxiety when you're reading some of these platforms and all of this information. Don't overwhelm yourself with nonsense is what I'm getting at. Tune into it yourself and you'll be able to see the clearer picture. All right. So anyway, I'm going to wind this down right now because I got to allow my members to, get ready for my Zoom call. And by the way, if you folks are interested, the links are down below and you want to check out my communities. The links are down below. I'm going to be in the inner circle. I do that call every week. It's a Zoom call. And, the members chime in. They could ask me anything directly. It's a one-on-one. And if you want to check out the the free mini reports, the moon reading, and the numerology report. The links are down below. Now, I don't have anything to do with those sites. These are just ways that you could support me in my work. If you do purchase something, we get a little tiny commission. It's not a big deal, but it helps. Every little bit helps, and the information is very valuable. So I've read those reports. They're very good. And so you're just helping me out and helping my team out here. But the inner circle is where it's at, because I could talk more freely on there, and I will. I will continue this conversation there, and we're going to be talking much more about all of this and what's going on. All right. So have a great Sunday, and have a great week. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks. All right. So have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.